My wife got all into her coworker from the company. At our anniversary party, a lot of her work buddies showed up. Just when the party kicked off, the memory VCR I put together was switched out with a clip of her cozying up with that young guy. My wife just rolled with it. Everyone at the company says we're like the perfect team. Plus, the partners don't know you, and they'd be more willing to work with James if he were my husband. People who knew me were just waiting for me to lose it and make a scene, but I didn't give them the satisfaction. I clapped along. Our marriage was already on the rocks, so I've had enough of being her husband. I looked over at James, dressed to the nines in a fancy suit. He looked more like the leading man than I did. Clearly, this was all planned. I handed James the cards on which I'd written my speech, blanked out everyone else's reactions, and walked right out of the party. From the moment I left the hall to the parking lot, my wife, Linda, didn't bother to follow me. Clearly, my exit was exactly what she wanted. Well, if that's what she wants, I'm not going to fight it. I'd been busy with the party since morning, and I hadn't even had a decent meal. Of course, the first thing I did was head to Liseho Pavilion, the city's most popular restaurant. Linda and I used to go there all the time right after we got married. But somewhere along the way, I disappeared from Linda's focus, and so did our years together. Linda never liked worrying about all the stuff that goes into throwing a party. I'd been planning this for 2 months to make sure everything was perfect. From the flowers and food to the guest list, venue, and schedule. When we married, we went with a trip just like Linda wanted. But I'd always wanted a big ceremony with everyone there. This anniversary was supposed to be our second wedding in compensation. I put a lot of heart into it, so I'm sure the VCR swap wasn't an accident. The VCR had clips from our dating days up to our 5th anniversary. We'd grown from clueless kids to this. It hurts, not gonna lie. But after being let down so much, I've grown numb enough to just walk away like it's nothing. After my meal, even the last bit of heartache was gone. My mind was made up. I got home, took a shower, and was just about to crash when Linda called. "Brian, where are you?" I had no clue about the rest of the schedule and almost embarrassed myself. She sounded annoyed, like I was just the hired help that came when called. I played it cool. "I came home. Need me to come back?" She paused. No, it's fine. The party went great. No need. I knew she wouldn't want me there. With the party over, she'd want some alone time with her guy. Not like she needed me around. I finally got a solid night's sleep since party planning had me up a few too many nights. By the time I was awake, it was already the middle of the night, and Linda was back. She swapped her party dress for something comfy and looked pretty flushed, in a good mood. The moment she saw me, her smile dropped. "Why didn't you answer my calls or texts?" I stretched and shrugged. "Was asleep." Linda squinted. "You're not sulking about what happened, are you? You know I did it for work. James and I have that magic as a team, and if the partners think we're together, they'll support us more. Yeah, you're the dream team out there, turning my anniversary into your engagement." Huh? In my head, I laughed it off, wondering if she was just too happy to think straight. I shrugged, not even bothering to engage. Linda looked pissed at my laid-back attitude and was about to continue when the front door opened. James strolled right up to the bedroom, all casual, carrying a bag and smirking. "Linda, you forgot your clothes. Thought I'd bring them over." He even had his fingerprints saved on the door lock, like it was his place. Linda acted like it was nothing. "Sorry to trouble you tonight. I could have got them next time." The two of them exchanging looks made me uneasy. I shuddered. Linda suddenly had a reason to lay into me, looking at James and saying, "Why can't you be more like James? He's younger but way more mature than you. Handled all those guests like a pro while you hid. If it weren't for James, who knows how it'd end? You just leaving clueless." Before she could finish, I cut in. "I got it." Linda and James looked stunned. Linda and James thought I'd be shattered, but instead, I stayed surprisingly calm. No tears, no scene, not even a word of protest. I just looked at Linda, blankly. Everyone knew how deeply I loved Linda, willing to give up everything for her. Before her, I was the genius artist pouring my talent onto the canvas. My art touched souls. It was how I communicated with the world, my emotional outlet. But all of that started to change when I met Linda. She was just an ordinary employee at the company, but her smile and eyes gave me warmth and stability I'd never felt. I was willing to give up everything, even my once shining art career, for her. My family's opposition was fierce, like a storm, as they couldn't understand why I'd abandon our artistic legacy for an ordinary woman. But to me, Linda was worth it. So, I broke ties with my family just to be with her. Those days were tough yet happy as we leaned on each other. I devoted myself to caring for and supporting her, striving to make her feel secure. Encouraged by me, Linda bravely started her own business. Her company grew from nothing, reaching great success. I was proud of her and content to have supported her through this journey. However, as Linda's career soared, our relationship quietly changed. She got busier, working late nights and weekends, leaving little time for me. I tried to understand her struggles, giving her space and support. Yet, I started noticing someone else in her mind. At first, she casually praised James in front of me. That new guy, James, is really talented and gets along with me. We'll work well together in the future. I thought nothing of it, just her acknowledging a capable colleague. But over time, she began comparing me to James, showing admiration for him. My heart sank, filled with foreboding. Eventually, Linda spent more time working late with James, even going out on weekends with him. Her smiles, once just for me, now often graced James' presence. I protested. I caused a scene, but Linda grew irritated. Can't you be more reasonable? I'm just working normally. I see James as just a little brother. Stop being unreasonable. Brian, your love is selfish. I realized her heart wasn't fully with me anymore. Facing this, I felt unprecedented pain and confusion. I started questioning myself, wondering if I wasn't good enough compared to James. I tried everything to win Linda back, but today's absurdity at the banquet woke me up. I'd been foolish. This relationship wasn't worth it anymore. Linda hadn't expected my calm reaction and, incredulously, asked again. What did you say? I adjusted my posture, sat up, and seriously, yet distantly, said, I'm saying I was wrong. Wrong to give up everything for you. Wrong to try and win back a heart that doesn't love me. Loving you was a mistake. Going against my family to be with you was too. But now I'm ready to cut my losses. Under Linda's disbelieving gaze, I said it. Linda, we should divorce. Linda's purse dropped to the ground. James' face couldn't hide his gleeful delight. He seemed ready to cheer. I feared he'd burst into laughter. He'd been ready for this for a while. Linda frowned, her reaction surprising me. Brian, are you drunk or just being silly? Say it again. I, afraid she'd not heard clearly in her shock, repeated. I said, Linda, let's divorce. I then quietly waited for her to agree. Instead, she just frowned and stared at me, like trying to figure out if I was serious or sulking. After a few minutes, she turned away, her tone unexpectedly soft. I'll take it as you talking nonsense in anger. I won't hold it against you. Divorce isn't something to say lightly. Even if you're upset, it hurts people. We've been together for years, we know each other well, you don't just divorce on a whim. I'm going back to the office tonight, you stay home and think it over, no more nonsense next time. Without giving me a chance to argue, she left, with a bewildered James following behind. I couldn't figure it out. These past days they've been so close, even more so today with their cozy pictures at the banquet. I thought she'd be eager to divorce and be with James by now. But then I thought maybe it's for the best. I still have things to sort out. Tomorrow I'll have the divorce papers ready and she'll probably agree to it then. I stayed under the covers and kept sleeping until the next day when the sun was already high in the sky. My phone was silent, no calls or messages. Without hesitation, I called my lawyer and drew up the divorce papers. Once I had the papers, I got myself ready and reached out to some old friends from my art circle to have lunch together. These friends were those I met during my days in the art world, when I was passionate and dedicated to painting. Each of them witnessed my passion and relentless pursuit on canvas. Back then, my heart was all about art. When I decided to leave the art world for Linda and focus on taking care of her, they called me lovesick and thought I was foolish to give up my talent and dreams for a woman. Although I had some doubts back then, Love pushed me forward. So when I decided to pick up the brush again and return to the art world, those old friends gathered around me once more. Brian, not sure what changed your mind, but we're all here for you. Come back, and we'll do this together. That's right. I've been thinking, let's have an art exhibition, open a studio, and chase those old dreams. The meal was a blast. When I got up to pay the bill, I unexpectedly heard a familiar voice. I turned around to see Linda and James getting all cozy, sharing a piece of cake, playfully smearing cream on each other's faces. That moment of romance stung my eyes. As I approached, Linda was clearly surprised to see me, a hint of panic in her eyes. Brian, what are you doing here? James chimed in, looking startled. Dude, are you following us? You're divorcing her yesterday and tailing her today? But I wasn't in the mood to argue. I knew it was a coincidence, but also realized our relationship had probably ended. I quietly put the prepared divorce papers in front of her. She tried to explain. Okay, maybe I was being followed, but don't do it again. We were just feeding each other because I wasn't feeling well. Don't be jealous. I ignored her excuses and just watched her. Glancing quickly at the papers, she nervously signed without reading them carefully to avoid the awkward situation. Once she signed, I finally told her those were divorce papers. Are you really not in your senses and signed without knowing it? Her face turned pale, eyes filled with disbelief and anger. This doesn't count. James seemed surprised at how smoothly the papers were signed. Linda, watch out. He might be scamming you for your assets. Linda quickly flipped through the papers. I smirked. No need. I'm not taking anything from you, just what's mine. Our love, like that piece of cake, was now eroded by time and betrayal. During this time, I didn't go back home. Linda's calls occasionally came, but I cruelly ignored or hung them up. Her voice, once the music to my ears, now just noise I didn't want to hear. With fewer calls, it felt peaceful. I wasn't trapped by fights and misunderstandings anymore. I could focus on myself. I began to think, remember, and plan ahead. Now, I only had one thought: get through the cooling-off period and finalize the divorce with Linda. I started preparing for my comeback. My friends and I planned an art exhibition, filled with excitement and passion. During this time, my emotions were fueled by an unseen force, and inspiration flowed like a fountain. I immersed myself in the art world, painting emotions and imagination. Every piece reflected my hard work and transformation. After a week of intense creation, I felt exhausted but fulfilled and happy. I decided to treat myself to a hot spring. At the spa, I enjoyed peace and comfort, as if the world had stopped just for me. But while soaking in this tranquility, I unexpectedly ran into Linda and James. Brian, I didn't want to deal with her, but Linda just wouldn't let it go. Brian, can't you hear me? She nagged. Their presence shattered my inner peace. I responded, slightly annoyed, what do you want now? Linda didn't expect my tone and was a bit taken aback. I couldn't help but notice those suggestive marks on her neck. You still have the nerve to ask. Why haven't you come home these days? You didn't even pick up your phone. Her voice was filled with dissatisfaction and accusation, as if I were some irresponsible husband. James chimed in, adding fuel to the fire. Yeah, Brian, Linda's been so worried about you. Couldn't even concentrate on work. Can't focus on work, but sure has time for a spa day. Looking at their content expressions and the suggestive clues, I knew their relationship was no longer a secret. But I felt an unexplained anger and helplessness. Coldly, I replied, do you think I'm overreacting? Have you ever considered how I feel? Our marriage is just on paper now. What's the point of dragging it out? Before Linda could respond, James couldn't hold back. Linda, it looks like Brian's still mad. It's my fault. Maybe I should just leave and let Brian be with you. Brian, don't worry. I'll resign and never bother you two again. Sorry. Linda looked at him with concern. It's not your fault. Don't leave. You're too considerate and end up being bullied. This is all Brian's fault for making a fuss. I'll make sure he apologizes to you. Brian, are you done? Why are you so cruel, trying to drive him away? I stared at them like they were fools. Seems like Linda still thinks we're only fighting over some trivial grudge. You too sure have selective memory. Linda, wake up. We're already divorced. Linda's face couldn't hide her feelings anymore, and she started yelling. She claimed that last divorce agreement didn't count because she didn't agree to it. What a joke. I didn't sign anything. I won't acknowledge it. I'm telling you, Brian, that agreement has no legal standing and I won't recognize it. I stood there with a calm and steady gaze, but inside, I felt no ripple of emotion. Quietly but firmly, I said, if it doesn't count, we'll sign another. Linda, my decision to divorce is final. It won't change. Isn't this what you wanted? Being free to be with James without hiding. Her face turned ashen as she accused me of forgetting our good times. So all your past love was fake? Now you're eager to show your true colors. Brian, you've got it all planned. Listening to her accusations brought a mix of feelings, but mostly relief. Taking a deep breath, I called out her and James's actions. I won't bother with your nonsense. Just look at the agreement. I want nothing from you. I was always there for you, and what do I get? You and James being all lovey-dovey. Remember our 5th anniversary party? How much effort I put into it, but you had James stand in for me. Who wronged whom first? Who gave up first? I spoke of betrayal and lies calmly, each word like a needle piercing their hearts. James, instead of backing down, added fuel to the fire. Stop twisting things. I thought you were decent, didn't think you'd stoop so low. Linda's such a good woman, and you didn't cherish her. Don't worry, Linda, you've got me. No need to be afraid. His tone was full of provocation and pride, as if declaring their unbreakable bond. Watching them egg each other on, I felt no anger, just a dull sadness and helplessness. Linda then mocked me, saying without her, I'm nothing, urging me to think it through. With those words, a slight smirk crossed my lips. I don't need to prove anything to her. My value isn't determined by anyone but myself. I shook my head slightly and reminded her to check the latest trending news. Confused, she pulled out her phone, seeing the news of my impending art comeback. Those fans over the years hadn't forgotten me, still waiting for me to pick up the brush again. Reading the hopeful and supportive comments warmed my heart. I knew this was the best time for a fresh start. Linda's face showed even more distress. Perhaps she never imagined that even without her, I could still have my own stage and shine. I looked at her again, with a gaze full of determination and confidence. I said, Linda, look, even without you, I still have my career, my fans, and my own future. But you chose betrayal and lies. James stood nearby, a complicated look on his face. He might not realize it, but his smug victory really isn't worth much. I looked at them, feeling a strange sense of delight. It wasn't the glee of revenge. It was the relief of letting go. I turned and left without saying another word. I knew I'd walk the path ahead alone, but I wasn't afraid anymore because I had my art, my fans, and my own future. And Linda and James, they would just become part of my past, buried deep in memory. The day the divorce cooling-off period ended, the sunlight was just right, and it felt like the air was filled with a new beginning. I officially sold the old house where Linda and I once lived and got ready to move into a new, all-mine little home. That old house held our past happiness in every corner. From the decor to the furniture, everything was tailored to her taste. The furniture, the color scheme, it was all Linda's choice, and I felt like I lost myself with her around. When we first moved in, I covered Linda's eyes, only uncovering them once we walked inside. The house wasn't big, but it was the best we could give each other back then, so even after we had more money, we didn't move because that warmth was irreplaceable. But now, those memories are shadows reminding me of a broken marriage. So I decided to let go of the past, sell the house, and use it for a fresh start. Moving into the new place, I stood in the doorway, feeling a strange sense of unfamiliarity. It wasn't just the change of scene but a transformation within me. For so long, it seemed like I lived to please Linda, but today, I finally reclaimed my peace and freedom. The new home was cozy and simple, with every piece of furniture handpicked by me, which not only matched my taste but also reflected my hopes for the future. I wandered through each room, breathing in this new life, feeling content and joyful. After everything was set, I sat on the balcony to relax when I saw Linda had posted a photo cuddling with James by the sea. The caption read, "The ones who matter will always be there for you." Before this, Linda had already posted several attention-seeking updates, mostly cozy pictures with James and suggestive captions. Seeing this, I couldn't help but chuckle. Their happiness seemed so absurd and ironic to me. I didn't dwell on it, simply blocked her, deciding to let go of the past entirely. But as I sat enjoying my peace, there was a knock on the door. I opened it to find my art friends there, celebrating my new place. They brought gifts and warm wishes, with genuine smiles on their faces. "Hey, why are you here?" They laughed noisily while setting down the gifts. "Brian, what's this? Not welcoming us, are you?" Brian moved to a new place, we had to show up. "Yeah. Can't have our Brian becoming a stay-at-home kid. Isn't it empty nester?" We sat together, sharing our lives, talking about future plans and dreams. We raised our glasses, celebrating this new joy. I looked at every face, feeling grateful and touched. I knew it was them who made me see life's beauty and warmth, and gave me the courage to start fresh. As night fell, my friends left one by one. I sat alone by the window of my new home, gazing at the stars. I knew there was a long road ahead, but I wasn't afraid, because I finally had my own home and dreams. I thought my story with Linda was sealed away forever after the divorce period ended. We went on different paths, no longer crossing each other's lives. Yet, fate loves throwing unexpected surprises our way. The day before the art exhibition, I was doing my usual news browsing when a stunning headline caught my attention. S Corporation had gone bankrupt. It was like a pebble dropped into a calm lake, stirring up waves of disbelief in my mind. In just a few months, a once thriving company had crumbled. It made me curious about what really happened. But then I thought, does it really matter to me? I've moved on to a new life. It's time to let go of past grudges and regrets. On the day of the exhibit, as I was chatting with guests about my creative inspiration, there was a sudden commotion at the entrance. I turned to look and saw Linda, looking disheveled, kneeling in the middle of the gallery. Her eyes were filled with desperation and appeal. "Please listen to me," she begged. "I'm Linda. I've come today to apologize to my ex-husband, the artist behind this exhibition." Her shaky voice drew everyone's attention. Cameras and phones pointed her way, turning this unexpected scene into the highlight of the event. I was stunned, never expecting Linda to appear at this time or in this way to apologize. I stood quietly, uncertain about her intentions. "I've always known I owe you an apology," Linda began, her voice breaking. "It was my fault. I shouldn't have betrayed you, shouldn't have been swayed by that fraud, James. He approached me with an agenda. He wanted to steal company secrets and money. I was foolish, truly deceived by him. He didn't just steal confidential files. He took all the money and left me with nothing. I'm at a dead end and hope you'll forgive me," she pleaded. The crowd murmured. Some began to pity her. "I now realize I only love you. Please, let me come back," she continued. I was unmoved, almost amused. Some people who didn't know the truth started giving me judgmental looks, thinking I was too heartless. Sadness and anger surged within me. It was time for clarity. "Everyone, please listen to me." I walked up confidently. "Linda did betray me with James," I stated firmly. "But her story of being deceived isn't entirely true. James approached her with intent, but that's no excuse for betrayal. Choosing him meant abandoning our love and promises. Her apology today isn't about realizing her mistakes. It's about being desperate and using sympathy for her own gain." I paused, feeling all eyes on me, awaiting my words. "More importantly," I continued, "I gave you chances, Linda. When I begged you to come home on anniversaries, and even when I saw you with him. You trampled my heart repeatedly. So today I won't accept your apology. I urge everyone not to be misled by surface emotions but see the truth. The real victims are all of us." As I finished, the tide of opinion shifted. People started criticizing Linda, recognizing her manipulation. Police arrived, restoring order, and took Linda away for investigation. That chaotic episode, though brief and intense, ended leaving whispers. Surprisingly, the drama boosted my art show, drawing more attention to my work and its backstory. Each exhibition felt like a soul-refreshing experience, affirming my belief in expressing myself through art. Afterward, I chose to leave the bustling city temporarily with friends, seeking new inspiration elsewhere. We wandered, soaking in sights and cultures, laughing, crying, and debating, each exchange bringing growth. Eventually, I settled in a charming mountain town, captivated by its eternal spring, luscious landscapes, and rich culture. This place became my new creative haven. My works captured my love and reflections on this town. Life here was leisurely, granting me more time for contemplation and understanding. I met many like-minded friends from all over, united by our art passion. We often discussed art, shared insights, and hosted small exhibitions together, encouraging and supporting one another. One day, I read the news of James's arrest. His grave offenses meant he'd likely spend life in prison. It didn't surprise me, but it did make me reflect. We were once significant to each other, even if on diverging paths. Now he pays for his actions and I have my new life. As for Linda, I heard nothing more after she briefly gained online attention post-exhibition. She tried live streaming to revive herself, but former employees lost faith, seeing her spiral into instability. Eventually, a kind restaurant employed her as a waitress, saving her from destitution. Yet, legal battles left her deep in debt, likely paying off for life. Years passed and I built a new family, achieved happiness. Recalling those days evokes deep feelings. Today, I've learned to let go of old gripes and savor the present. With children, I returned with my wife to my hometown. Walking familiar streets, I spotted a woman who seemed familiar, yet I couldn't recall her name. That was when I realized everything from the past was just fleeting scenes. What's important is the present and cherishing those around me. I smiled, moving forward, full of gratitude and contentment. I knew true happiness lies right here, and the past was but a scenic part of my life journey. My happy little family will stay joyful forever.